welcome Luminous beings. Today I have got someone so dear to my heart to share with you. Her name is Chrissy Firemain and she is Mama Earth personified, and I'm really super duper excited to share this interview with you. Hello Chrissy.
Hello darling, happy Sunday.
So I had this idea just before the interview started that I am talking to a quadruple Aries here. And so long-winded questions just, might be a little dull. So I'm just going to throw some words at you, Chrissy, and let you do what you do. But first of all, for those people who haven't met you before, I'd love you to just share a little bit about who you are and what you do.
Oh, gosh.
I know that's huge.
Well, it is, isn't it? I'm a mama. That is probably first and foremost my medicine and my magic and my approach to life and to people and to my community. I'm a sound medicine woman. I use my voice to help and heal and move energy from people and their hearts and their trauma and transmute that, but also for the collective and for the planet itself. I use my voice a lot. I'm now moving into music and performing music that has the same intention, really, to empower us. And so I'm busy with that. And I take groups to Peru. I have a superfood powder, but I have lots of projects. But really the common thread throughout is my passion for human beings, my knowing of their inherent power, and the magic that we all possess when we can just simply come through the pain, if you like. We've all accumulated some pain from our journey, and like coming through that and understanding that and dissolving that, we naturally come into our magnificence. And that's my knowing, and that's the sort of the essence of my work and my life.
Yes.
Yeah.
I love
Yes.
it. So tell us about motherhood. What does motherhood mean to you, and what is the importance of motherhood, the journey of motherhood?
So for me, when you asked that, Erica, the first thing that came in was friendship and guardianship. Like, I feel for myself, motherhood is about welcoming new people to planet Earth, to where we live, and acting as a guardian and as a friend to those little people. That's what motherhood means to me, sort of keeping them safe, but giving them the respect and the honor that they're due in terms of them being hugely powerful sovereign beings with their own purpose, with their own knowing, very, very closely connected to source when they come in. So really sort of kind of touching that as little as possible, allowing them the space they need. But yeah, being a guardian, being there to make sure they cross the road safely and, brush their teeth occasionally. But other than that, it's really, for me, being a friend to them and for them to be a friend to me, to allow them to be a friend to me, not as a lesser than or younger than. I don't really believe in that with children. I think they've got so much incredible power for us, huge lessons for us that have nothing to do with parent-child role. Rather, their knowing that they have when they come in fresh, untainted by our society and the way we live and our rules and conditionings. They're just wide open. And so, yeah, that's what's important to me in motherhood, is really making sure I'm staying in those roles: guardianship, friendship, not trying to control as little as possible. Good control, like I say, making sure they're safe and not putting their hands on hot plates. But other than that, letting them decide, what they are about, what they want to do, how they like to eat, and when, that's, I do my best to keep them free.
Beautiful. A word that I hear you use a lot in your parenting when you're describing it is fearlessness.
Yes.
And I love that because it's it's not something you hear very often when people say, what do you want for your children? There's a whole lot of other things that are also really important, but I love your use of the word fearlessness. You want to create fearless children.
Yeah.
And you are.
Yeah. I think that, I think that that's our goal as adults, is to come back to that state of fearlessness where we feel free in all areas, free in the basking sunlight, free in the shadow as well. We're fearless in all areas and, with people on our own or whatever it is. And obviously that would start at childhood. Like a lot of the times the fears and the pain that we're carrying as adults is what we've accrued when we're young. And and I think it just starts with fear or upset around loss of love. So, just marinating the children in love and creativity and hope and that sense that they are so powerful, to make them feel fearless. It's such a powerful energy to be around a fearless person, and it's not about bravado. It's got nothing to do with that. It's fearless to cry and to expose themselves in front of others, fearless to approach a new child or adult and introduce themselves and say, hey, I'd love to play with you. And, that to me is, that's how we're going to change things.
Yes.
Is the children being fearless.
Yes.
Yeah.
And I love that. That's how we're going to change things, and that's how important and powerful motherhood is. I heard you talking about what a noble and powerful job that is.
Yes, absolutely. I've really come to appreciate that in the last few months while I see a lot of people talking about nobility and, really I see that the hardest roles are the simplest. Well, the ones that we think are simple, like being at home and mothering children, like that. This is an incredibly noble role, and it is what's going to change the planet. One being at a time, as I like to sort of put it, one being at a time. It's and I love that quote that I just found or posted recently from Mother Teresa. It's like, you want to create peace in the world, go home and love your family. I see that so often people who are trying to blaze a trail to change the world are still out with their mother and father. Or they still have, outness there. And look, I'm not saying that we all have to be buddies and best friends, but energetically, if metaphysically the love isn't flowing between us and our family members, then who are we kidding? What are we going out there and preaching and talking about if we haven't pulled it off yet ourselves at home? So these roles, like parenting, and I just find it huge. I think we're the warriors.
Yes.
Yeah, the humble, quiet mamas at home.
Yes. Yes. Something that you talked about at your homecoming concert was the shift from giving to receiving, and that's a practice that we all need to focus our energy upon, is being able to receive graciously, because we so often, and especially as mothers, give and give and give, and we forget completely about being able to receive with grace. Yes, absolutely. It's so important, and it's I think it's gone are the days of just martyrdom and endless giving. We're no good to anyone if we're not full up with our own joy, self-care, self-love, and I truly believe that it's kind of nonsense that we're a wonderful giver but we're not good at receiving. I hear that a lot. People kind of like to think that they're, and I don't know if that's true. I feel it's the same flow. So if we are giving and not good at receiving, we're probably actually not really giving. Giving freely from the heart with no expectation. There'll be attachments in there, there'll be conditions in there, so we're not really giving, and that's why we're not really receiving, able to receive without any conditions on that either. But yes, at this time I do feel it's absolutely vital that we're all receiving
consciously, you know, opening ourselves to receiving how much support. And look, I'm talking to myself here, Erica. I forget it all the time, but, you know, like where I am inspired by, and the teachers that I have at the moment in the Sacred Valley of Peru, where there's energy practices, you know, that are similar all the world around, where we open up our energy bubble, or whatever you want to call it. They call it the pokpo there, and we drink in, you know, this cosmic nectar, this refined energy that is constantly available to us, but we always forget. We forget that we have this nectar to refresh our being, to refresh our energy body on tap all the time, waiting to, like, it just wants to be drunk in by us. It wants to be received, but we forget this. Do you know, we go back into the sort of, we're third dimensional, where this, there, that, nobody's here to cuddle me, blah, 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 when really, you know, like, we have so much love at our fingertips, do you know, and we just have to open it up. So I actually feel that being you know, getting really good and conscious at receiving is the job right now.
Yes.
And actually, my teacher Puma talks about that, you know, like a program on planet Earth having shifted 2 years ago from, you know, I think 30,000 or 40,000 years of a certain energetic program that shifted 2 years ago. And it shifted into that, where we are now to receive. And he says it, and I love it, it's be generous with yourself. Be generous with yourself. Take everything you want. Take it with both hands. He says, when pure love comes your way, grab it, Chrissy. Grab it. Take as much of it as you can. Take in that pure love. Do you know, like, it makes a lot of sense. And wherever it rattles us, we got to look at that. Why aren't we free to just take? You know, a lot of the mindsets going on. Oh, no, it's bad to take. It's bad to receive. Oh, no, this is nonsense. But, you know, I'm hoping to disband a little by little, even with this interview with you, darling Erica. It's a good question.
I love it.
Me too.
I've learned that a lot from you.
Have you? Good.
Also, in that same topic is a lot of mamas, including myself, tend to see that as our only role, and we just throw ourselves completely into that and we forget our dreams.
Yes.
I see you so alive and glowing when you talk about Peru, and I'd love to hear what Peru is for you. It's obviously such a part of who you are, and it nourishes you as a human and as a mum to still keep your dreams alive. And I think that that's such an important and beautiful thing to witness, is a mama who is still following her dreams, because it's such a beautiful thing for your children. When you were, I'd love to share this, and I hope we can find a picture of it, when Chrissy was singing and did her debut concert the other night, which was mind-blowing. Her daughter was just sitting there below her, watching her. And there can be no better example than seeing her mother up there following her dreams. So that's a really big question. But what is Peru to you, and how do you do that? How do you keep following your dreams?
Thank you. Gosh, Peru to me, I can almost just feel myself going into the slipstream of it, because I'm flying out in 2 weeks. I can feel what happens to me as I'm going there. And I think that's why I feel emotional. It's, well, you know, it's the place for me that speaks most to my soul and my spirit. You know, and when I say that, I mean just the landscape and the land, and just looking without having to talk to anyone, without having to really travel, just being there. I know it. I know that land better than I've known any land I've walked thus far. And so for me, it means home. And I feel greatly relieved when I think about going back, because it just opens me so much when I'm there. I'm like, yeah, I just feel way more connected to source, way more connected to God, Great Spirit, way more connected to people, way more connected to my heart. It just has an incredible vibration there, Erica. It's so pure. It's so pure, and I love it. And it makes me come alive, and it humbles me greatly, and at the same time lifts me up, and I feel great pride of about us, about humans, about planet Earth, about our journey. I feel so relieved and lifted when I'm there. So that's what it means to me, and I think what it means to me to keep going there and to keep doing the things that I know I have to do. I'd probably die if I couldn't. I have come here with a purpose, with people, and if I couldn't do that, I would die. I think spiritual death. I think I'd fall into apathy and depression and would probably leave, because I've known so very clearly since a young one what I'm about and what I'm here to do, and as a result of holding on to that so strongly, not necessarily knowing what it was or how it looked at periods of life, but the feeling of it, which is really more important, to be in contact with the feeling of your purpose than how it looks in the physical. A lot of us, and mamas especially, know they have something to do beyond family and don't necessarily know what it is or how to walk it. It's not important. What's important is holding on to that feeling and growing that connection with that feeling, trusting that feeling, banking on that feeling, and not letting it go for anything. And what will happen is you will create children that also understand that. So I think before I had my children, I was so in line with purpose that I was only going to birth children that would back me and that could be without me for weeks on end, because knowing that I'm doing what I'm here to do, like I know. And I've said it so many times, and I know that's what kids are about. We come in to back our parents. And I know for myself as a wee one, like that, I was in a lot of distress around that, not being welcomed into my parents' lives closely, that I could really back who they were. I was sort of, they didn't even really, I guess, know what they were all about, or didn't keep a hold of that passion, and that upset me. That's all I wanted to talk to them about, to live with them, was their passion, and so I went into a lot of upset around that. But I know that holding on to that myself, my kids, Zion and Emmy, totally understand. Like you say, Emmy watching up on stage there, like they understand that passion, it's wise, and it works to be fearless around our passion. And that's, and also, like Frederick, the father of my children, although we're not in relationship together, we are as close as we've ever been. And again, like I attracted the father that would back me also. So, although we're not in relationship, he absolutely backs me. Like, he could be someone that just refused to have the children and refused to let me travel and do my thing easily. I know a lot of men out there who are in that space. But Fred backs me, and he gives me freedom. So I also know I have created that somehow. Like we're all creating it together, but I have created what I need. And, and that really comes from holding on to your vision. In the feeling, in the energy of it, not the planning and how it must look, but holding on and walking towards that in the areas of your passion. And the first thing that we've really got to throw on the fire as mamas is guilt. Guilt that we're not, tied to the kitchen sink and making 3 meals a day every day, or whatever it is, or dirty playroom or whatever. That's all got to go, because it has nothing to do with nothing, I feel. Minutes of sheer presence and love and affection and seeing your children for being the massive spiritual sovereign beings they are, as opposed to days and weeks of being with them where you're not seeing them like that. You know, go figure which one they'd prefer to have. Do you know, like, and that includes affection and smothering with love. It's not, I'm talking in the physical as well, being there for them, but you know, I know my children, I mean, they're exceptional, and I know they thrive because Frederick and I do grant them their sovereignty. Yes. And not molly coddle them, and, you know their bodies can heal themselves, and you know, like we treat them big, and therefore they are.
Yes. Yeah. That's such a beautiful thing. I think if one thing I could get from Luminous Youth for people to understand is that for us to walk what we're trying to be, what we're trying to impart to them, is for us to walk that. And if we want them to follow their passion and to not be swayed by all of the stuff that's thrown to them as children of you should be this and you should have a 9-to-5 job and you should study maths even though you hate it and blah, 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 is we have to walk that. Yeah. And thank you for doing that.
Thanks, darling.
The next word is decision.
Powerful.
How powerful is decision?
Powerful beyond belief and very rarely employed on our planet.
What is it?
Well, I mean, to me, and this is just what, you know, others have shared with me and I've learnt from experience and then shared with others and watched them have experience. So this is really not just talk. I'm walking this in my own life, and is that decision is, as I said, very rarely used, and it's such a powerful spiritual phenomenon. A lot of the time we're thinking that it's a mental process, you know, like I've got to use my mind to choose between two options. But really there's way more depth to what decision is, and it's basically like an anchoring or an aligning tool in the metaphysical. And when we decide to do something, and look, I'm going to use this example because I see it all the time with people bursting out of their skins with excitement to come to Peru with me. They like feel those mountains, they're like, oh, and then the next minute, oh, no, I just can't do it, I don't have the money. And what I'm seeing is, and that's the perfect example, is we are making decisions before the physical universe is rolling out the red carpet for us and everything's perfectly aligned, and then I'll decide. Do you know, you want to go to the party on Saturday night? Oh, I'll decide later. It's got to be dry. It's got to be, everyone else has got to be going. And what happens is when we decide to do something, again, it has nothing to do with the physical. Do you know, like if we don't have the money in the bank, or we can't get the time off work, or we've got 4 children and we're single parent and we have not a cent in the bank, and all of that does not matter at all, and that's what's putting people off making decisions, or mamas making decisions to go for their purpose. I don't have any time, I don't have any money, we are going under the limiting physical universe conditions that we're seeing, and therefore not deciding. And this is the madness. We must decide, regardless of what is happening. Right, I am going to record an album in the next 6 months. I don't have a day off. I've got 4 children on my own, and I don't have a cent, but I am going to do it. And I tell you, that vibration of standing 2 feet in and deciding, regardless of what is apparent, or the resources that we have, or whatever it is, deciding sends out a very clear vibration to the universe and people and opportunities and magic, and we are heard. Right, that woman is making an album. Jesus, that's exciting. Right, let's give her this. Let's give her that opportunity. Let's give her that, because she's open to that. She's in that. She's standing 2 feet in, and she's open for possibilities. But when we say, oh no, I'm not sure if I'll record an album, I need to think about it. Like we're not open. We are not vibrating abundance, opportunity, willingness, magic. We're just not. So decision, and I've seen this, and especially with the Peru thing, you know, like And I've had friends of mine who are literally single mamas of 4 with not a cent in the bank, and how the hell am I going to get there? I don't care, I'm going. Sure enough, they did it. From that decision, it was like, right, I'll do anything. And they got the money, they got the care, and they were there, it changed their lives. And that it's such a powerful spiritual phenomenon, decision. And the opposite of it, being in indecision, is we get whacked around. You know, we get we're not anchored into where we're going or what we're going to do, and therefore we're at effect of a lot of energy that's swishing about that we don't see. You know, collective mindsets or entities, energy fields, individual ones. Like there's also, you know, energy fields of other people. We're at effect of all that when we're not in decision. And, you know, like people might just listen to this and go, oh, blah, 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 blah. Like, give it a go.
Yeah.
Feel. It's results. It's simply results and experience. You feel the difference between being in indecision and how that feels, and then being in decision. You know, and you can change your decision at any moment. Do you know, it's not, oh God, I'm not going to make a decision because I might make the wrong one. Yeah. That's nonsense. I think a lot of people are whipping themselves about, you know, the fear of making wrong decisions, and so don't move on anything and wonder why their dreams aren't coming true. Yeah. Because they're not moving forward with decisions. Make a little decision. You know, that make a decision and do it now. Do it now. Just do it now. You know, make another decision. Doesn't feel good, change it. Make another decision, but keep moving through the metaphysical with these decisions. Powerful.
Yeah, when you first said that to me, I'd just been immersing myself in the work of Nassim Haramein, and one of the things that really struck me in his work is about look, I'm not scientific, so I'm not even going to attempt to explain it in that way, but it's like taking your power back and informing the universe, because, you know, everything is 1% matter or whatever it is, and 99% not matter. And so obviously the not matter is bigger and more powerful, but we focus on the matter. And so for me, I was like, oh yeah, that's how I can use that in reality, is I inform the matter, which is what we see in the 3D world, is I inform that. It doesn't inform me.
Yes.
That sort of flipped it on its head, where I was like, right, I tell it how to look and what to do. And
yes. You've reminded me, Erica, of a beautiful little phrase out of Julia Cameron's program, The Artist's Way, that was probably the most powerful piece of that program that I took away with me, which is, she says, okay, above your studio or your you know, your wherever you like to create, whatever it is, your workspace, I want you to write something and stick it up there. It says, dear God, I'll take care of the quantity, you take care of the quality. And it's that same thing of doing it, like make decisions and go and just keep moving, and it will, God comes in, steps in to help and gives you what you, but if you're sitting in indecision, not doing anything, no joy, no, you know, we're not going to get there. Yeah. You know, because we do actually have to cut a sway through a lot of crazy energy out there. Yeah. Do you know, that's not right or wrong or significant or whatever. It's just it. Do you know, like we do have to navigate through, and decision is the best way, I reckon. Yes. One of the best ways. Yes. Yeah.
During one of your workshops, sound workshops, for those who haven't done one or done anything like that, one of the exercises we did was to make, Chrissy would put music on and we made sound to that, and some of the sounds they're a mix of sounds. Some feel angry, some feel frustrated, some feel joyful, some feel whatever. There's a whole lot of sound going on in the room. And one thing you said that, like, whoa, like really hit me, was give people the freedom to make whatever sound they like. And if it is affecting you, if it's triggering something within you, check in with yourself and see what within you that is triggering. And I have used that in my parenting, as everything I grab from all of these different places, I always like switch it around and put it into parenting. And for parenting, for me, what that related to was when a kid is having a meltdown or a tantrum or whatever, and I can't be with that, to look inside myself as to what that's triggering. Do you want to talk a little bit about that? Because I think we can use that in our adult relationships, and then also our parenting relationships, or even with other children, is when they're acting in a way that presses a button within us to check in with ourselves. Maybe just like a little explanation.
Yeah, look, the first thing that came up when you were talking is recent experiences of mine where I've had upset, you know, huge upset and heartbreak, and members of our community have not let me have that. Do you know? And I, like, come on, aren't you supposed to be bigger than that? And, you know, oh, don't be angry. And, you know, these energies that are really unfair. Do you know, like we've got to let people we've got to let people express themselves. Yes. Do you know? Because the more we allow, without judgment, just let the person fall to the floor for a moment and scream it all out, yell it out, whatever it is, the faster and safer they feel, without judgment, without, hey, you should get through that faster. You know, that they... You know, we take the wrongness off the human experience, you know, and we have, you know, the most incredible gamut of emotions as third dimensional humans. You know, we really do, and our hearts, we just feel so much. And I know there's a lot of the time we judge emotions, certain emotions, for being bad. And my teachers, the Kero, indigenous of the Sacred Valley, would never dream to label or judge certain expressions of energy as good or bad. That's just absolutely nonsense. They simply watch how energy behaves and where it needs to move to be in harmony. So, you know, it doesn't feel harmonious in my heart because it's hurting. So then I move it with sound or with cry, and it moves. The energy, or the hucha they call it, moves to a place where it can be transmuted. And this is just simply watching energy flow. And that's pretty much like how we restore ourselves to balance, is to allow these dense energies to move. And, you know, that might be through words, it might be through crying, sounding, laughing, whatever it is. But, you know, if we see the bigger picture and allow a being to be in their truth in that moment, do you know, like it's, you know, I find more truth in someone who says, you know what, I'm really angry today, than someone who pretends they're not, and, you know, to get on with it and be, you know, whatever it is. Like that's the insanity on our planet, where we're suppressing and making people wrong for feeling certain emotions or energies that we deem as wrong, and then we lock it in. Do you know, we create more of that thing. Like I know, like when I've had, you know, for myself recently, when, you know, I've felt anger or whatever it is and copped it, you know, that's not okay from someone, it makes me more angry. Yes. It actually, you know, it's like, hey, if you just let me feel it, would move. Yeah. You know, and you're right, what you said, Erica, like, what's it bringing up in you when I say fuck? Or whatever, you know, like, or whatever it is. Like, you know, what is it, what's the charge what can't you be with? Yes. Do you know, like, what can't you be with? And, oh, God, you know, like, it goes around in circles, really. But you know, like, also the other thing that I wanted to share that your, you know, question brought up is I just thought of my children, Zion and Inni, and the way they express pain. And, you know, they've learnt with me as a mama that it's okay to yell and scream and just let it go. But, you know, I can feel when it moves into indulgence, as I do in my workshops, when someone is not actually moving through it and sitting in it, you know. And, you know, one of my children likes to do that a bit more than the other one. One's a bit more quite efficient at moving through, and the other one, you know, really likes to. So I also, like, help him with that, like, let him, you know, express himself and cry. But the minute I can feel him going into the drama of it or whatever, it's like, hey, no, come on, breathe through it, come back to yourself, come back to your parent. And he does. Yes. You know, it's navigating that. It's navigating when it's a truthful, healthy transmutation of energy.
It's powerful. It's when I was in the workshop, and I remember I was really moving through something quite strongly, and I got to this point where I just felt like it was overwhelming me. And I remember at that moment you came up behind me and you said in this really powerful voice, keep walking, keep moving. And it just made me rise up and feel like I could keep going. Like I wasn't going to, like it wasn't consuming me. I could keep walking through that. And I've held that very closely in life and in parenting, is to know when you're going to get stuck in it.
That's it. Yeah.
And to know, yes, it's okay to cry and scream and punch a pillow or whatever works for you, or scream into the ground. But to also know when to keep moving. And I think that's the beautiful and important thing, is if we can do this as mums, and we can know ourselves so well as to when we're indulging and when we're using this energy to move through something, it's very easy then to see it in someone else, namely our children, is to go, yes, okay, now let's go.
Yes, that's right. And I think there's a very strong relationship between, the indulgence and not walking through that comes from a suppression or the judgment of, because it's bad to be angry or sad or jealous or guilty, whatever, it's bad. We don't go right deep into it. We sort of just experience it to 70% and then sort of suppress the rest because, Jesus, that's a bit dark, actually. I don't want to and therefore we don't walk all the way through it. And that's why people are in upset after decades, is because they didn't feel and ride that emotional wave and journey like a surfer, ride it completely to the shore, to the end. The height of it, the crashing depth, like ride it. We suppress it. We're scared of it. We've been told it's wrong. We've been, so yes, absolutely. I know for myself, like I'm really happy with the way I experience emotions. I love them. I find them absolutely exquisite, all of them. And I will feel them completely when I do. There's no, oh God, this is uncomfortable. It's like, no, I feel it. And that's why I know I get through things fast, and get the gold fast, actually. Get the gold from the experience, is because there's huge intelligence in our emotional body that we sometimes want to... we want to put sort of spiritual, it's the same thing. My teacher says that every experience is an emotional experience. Sometimes it's spiritual, sometimes it's mental, sometimes it's physical, but it is always emotional. This is fascinating. And we, I just see that, where people want to run away.
Yes.
Run away from the feeling, whatever it is, even when it's like beautiful music that's, oh no, I can't be with that. That's a bit cheesy. I've got to run away. Why? What's that opening? It's really interesting to watch the runaway point in beings where they won't be there anymore. No, got to get out of here. Why? What's happening on an emotional level? This is, God, I love this area.
Yeah, and it's so fascinating that it comes across a lot of areas. Like when you're talking, I'm thinking of, a lot of the spiritual stuff that's around, the new age stuff that's around is very love and light. And I'm finding it in parenting as well, that then flows into the parenting of, you must always speak in like a rainbow happy voice and quite sing-songy. Do you know what I mean? Whereas that's not real, and that isn't really powerful. I don't know what I'm trying to say, but it's about being real, and that can embrace beautiful, loving, shiny moments, and that can also embrace dark, shadowy moments, and they're both beautiful.
Absolutely. Yeah. We're natural, this is the natural world. Any addiction to light and fear of shadow has to be looked at, otherwise we'll bring that up in our children. We'll bring up children who are scared of pain, who can't be with, and pain is going to occur to all of us. We all get our hearts broken. That is part of being human. And if we are raising children that can't be with pain, or it's wrong to because we can't, do you know that this is not that's not powerful. We want beings and ourselves to be okay in all experiences. You know, not to say it's easy, but, you know, like to welcome, I guess.
Yeah.
To welcome and just go, okay, this is here. This big pain here. All right, I'm going to be with it. I'm going to feel it. You know, not make it a big deal.
Yeah, and that ties in with what you were saying. Our kids are here to back us, but also as our teachers. To teach us where we're not comfortable with and where we've brushed over and we've been able to brush over up until we have these little pure beings who go, no, I'm just going to do that until you deal with that.
Do you know what I love about my kids, especially my daughter, is that if I'm upset and crying, I don't do what my mum did, which was hide in the darkest corner of the dining room and I'm fine, you know. And I was like, no, I know you're not fine. I can feel energy. I'm 3 years old, but I feel everything. I know you're not fine. Why are you lying to me? You know, I show her. You know, I cry in her arms, and any steps into, she becomes a grandmother. You know, she is a grandmother in those moments. She holds my arm or my leg strong. She's looking in my eyes, and she's got me, and it enables her to step up and to be there for me, you know, like where a lot of the time I'm not sure of spiritually who's mother and who's daughter. Like it's not as it seems. You know, a lot of our children are our parents spiritually. And let's allow that. Let's allow the friendship, the roles to reverse. And that's an amazing way we can do it, is to be vulnerable with our children, to show them that being vulnerable and being hurt at times is part of it.
Yeah.
It's not like, I'm a parent, I know better, I'm not going to cry. Like, what? That's retarded. That's insane. Do you know, like, no way.
Yes.
Yeah, and then there's this, the friendship comes in. You know, we're doing it together, comrades.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah. What do you see as far as education? I feel like that's another whole big subject that we've discussed on our own. But what do you see as a beautiful way of educating our youth? Because a lot of what we've been talking about and that's been talked about in other interviews actually doesn't exist in the education system as it is right now. So what would be your vision for a healthful way of educating our youth?
Well, I think it's changed recently. I used to and held on to a vision that I was born when I was, 19 or 20, and I saw myself educating my children in a way where I sought out the most inspiring people I could get my hands on in all walks of life. And when I say inspiring and successful, you know, it's about their passion to do what it is, whether it's sewing, cooking, astronomy, permaculture, language, whatever, but just find those electrifying people and have my children spend, you know, like work out a program where they're with this person 3 hours on Monday and and I thought that was wonderful. And in some ways it's beautiful and makes a lot of sense, but I don't think that's the way now, because that's what I want, you know.
Damn it.
Yes, damn it. And I have just had an experience recently, you know, Frederick, the father of my children, and myself, we're not sending our children to schools as we know them, and until something comes along that feels absolutely right and we're open to it, but nothing right at the moment speaks to us, and we're in no rush or pressure to find anything. So what I noticed when we were living in Cusco last year was Zion, because, you know, the children are so smart and they love learning and absorbing, and they're speaking 3 languages and all this sort of thing. And Zion was like, okay, I want to learn stuff. And I was like, great. Okay, what do you want to learn? And he was, And so I, you know, chucked some things at him. You know, we could learn about this. We could learn about that. We could learn about this. And sure enough, both of them were like, yes, the planets. Let's learn about the planets. And so, you know, I simply went to the store and got a beautiful big pop-up book and looked on Google and found these really cool little clips of planets rapping, which Zion loves hip-hop. So, and they learnt, you know, they listened to this rap over and over. They learnt all about it. They loved the book every night in Spanish. They just loved it. And what I noticed is that when the learning came from their volition and their choice, so them saying, I want to learn something, that's what I want to learn, all right, and then furnishing them with that, they then take that knowledge away as their own. It's not something that's been forced on them, and I don't want to learn maths and bloody hell, and it doesn't stay. They chose to learn it. They were passionate about learning it, and the turning point, not the turning point, but the sort of key in it for me was seeing them then go out and tell everyone that they met about the planets and Jupiter's this big. Did you know? Like I was like, oh my God, they're telling everyone, and it was like, because it was theirs. They had it. It was theirs, and I know they'll keep that. And when I say keep that, I don't really even mean the facts, but they'll keep that joy of learning and the choice and the empowerment of choice that they had in that experience. And so, to me, that's how I want to educate my children, is wait for them to ask me and tell me, like, you know, keep proposing things, but I know my children well enough that their communication and their confidence is in line enough for them to say, right, no, Mum, I want to learn something now. But of course, keep proposing, but then whatever it is, you know, help as much as I can with that, you know, if it's in the means financially and what have you. And also, you know, backing the purpose, you know, like of the parents. I think that's a huge education. Like, you know, what you're saying about my daughter Innie watching me on stage last week. It's like, you know, a few mamas came up and shared that with me, that they were watching Innie watch me, and they were in tears around that. And I know what they mean, because that's what I wanted as a wee one, to feel that with my mum, to feel my mum shining and going for it, and that I could, like, I was in with her dreams, if that makes sense. That to me is education, you know. So that also, and then I think the third thing is simply being in nature and with other children. You know, those things, being with other kids, you know, and playing in nature. They to me are so they're the important things.
Yes.
Okay. Yeah.
Nature teaches them so much, doesn't it? It's just like I always say to my kids, that's your other mama. Like, you've got two mamas. I'm your, you know, I gave birth to you here on Earth, but she is another power mama, and she really does. If they can be immersed on their own in nature, she takes over, and she will teach. And it's not always. A lot of the time, it's absolutely beautiful, and then sometimes when they're not being respectful, she'll give them a good lesson as well, which is a beautiful thing and really important for them to have their own relationship with nature. Sometimes I find, even not in you, but like in some nature things, it's all very contrived.
Yeah.
I love that when they can just go and, like you said, spend time in nature, that they can form a personal relationship with nature, which is, it's like you said, it's something that then is a part of who they are. Yeah.
Yep, absolutely.
Do you happen to have with you your song/poem about motherhood, or do you know it?
The Mother's Prayer?
Yes.
Yes. The poem? You want me to say the poem?
Yeah, for all the mamas watching, I want them to close their eyes, and I want them to open their hearts and to just still their energy, and to connect in to Mother Earth, their mother, and to receive this, and to receive Chrissy's beautiful fiery energy, which we could all do with, and to just open to these absolutely beautiful words and receive them with grace.
This is Mother's Prayer. All the beautiful mamas. Glory beings stand tall. Though we may falter, we don't fall. We will survive, as the tribe of light doth shine, standing behind you. This luminous youth, and we'll fulfill our destiny, living proud, living free. We'll forever be like the grandfather trees, grounded in roots of undeniable truth that love lives here. And though they tell you that you won't make the grade, keep your head high. Know thyself. Great Spirit, hear me now and come witness this mother's prayer to keep me strong, to keep me true, to keep me soft, and to keep me pure. This supercluster love come down so gently from above, like, dare I say, the peaceful dove, free and sweet. I found my love. Yes, I found my feet, and in servitude and in gratitude I shall repeat that though they tell you that you won't make the grade, keep your head high, know thyself. Great Spirit, oh, hear me now and come witness this mother's prayer to keep me strong, to keep me true, to keep me soft, and to keep me pure.
Thank you.
I love you, Mama.
I love you.
We're doing it.
Can we finish? Can we finish with your vision for Earth before you close your eyes and take your last breath?
I just feel everyone free. Free to love and free to feel and yeah, I just feel it. I can't see it, but I feel it. Where all the land, all the mountains and the oceans are free, all the animals are free, and it doesn't mean that it's free of upset. That's always going to be a human experience, but free of torture in the mind that keeps us, like where we coming through things naturally and getting the answers and moving on and moving in together as family and working together and just feeling free to travel the seas without passports, free to birth our babies and in forests and free to do what we feel is right. Yeah, that's my vision. It's coming. It's happening.
It is.
It is. Yeah.
Thank you so much, Chrissy Fireman. You're such a blessing to us all.
Oh,
and
okay.
We receive your energy. We do. We receive it and we give it back. And we walk it. And that's how we can honour this beautiful energy, is that we can take it and we can make it a part of ourselves, and then we can hold our heads up high and we can walk this and we can do this.
Yes. Yes, we can and we are. Thank you so much for this beautiful opportunity, Erica. I acknowledge the work that you do and your vision for children, and keep going, honey. I'm backing you. I'm right behind you. Keep going.
Oh, blessings, luminous beings.